All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Wednesday, May 31st of 2023, last day of May. June is upon us here, so the year is moving by fast, pretty much as always. But for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. It's a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. Questions come in live in the YouTube chat. Questions come in from support. You can reach us at support@sabersim.com. Questions also come in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. Highly recommend it. As always, get access to similars, get access to, the rest of the SaberSim team beyond myself. We all are in there each and every day answering user questions, a lot of strategy questions in the different channels for different sports. So great reason to be in the Discord. But looking ahead to today, we have a 7-game early MLB slate. Looks like we have a 6-game main slate. So good luck to all of you in the early slate if you have your contests are going on right now. And then PGA and NBA both return tomorrow. PGA tees off first thing in the morning, and NBA, we get our game 1 NBA finals matchup tomorrow. So it should be a fun day. Looking forward to it myself. But with that being said, going to get the app pulled up here. Only really one question here to get us going today from J. Sams Jr. So if anybody has any questions, now is a great time to get those in. We will see where we go after this one. But this is kind of like a two-parter here. Going to get these all in here. And question says, what is the best way to look for hitters that will at least score some fantasy points? Secondly, also, should we be looking at percentiles when looking for players with high upside? Okay, so really good question here. I did see that even Matt jumped in here. So let's talk about hitters with baseball, right? If we were to even go and look at the highest projected hitters, which this basically means that after running all of the sims here, on average, that this top hitter scored the most fantasy points throughout the sims, right? But if we go in to see, what this player's range of outcomes looks like, at about 18% of the time, he scores 0 points. 18% of the time scores somewhere like a little over 5 points here. Those are his two most likely outcomes in this chart, right? We're going to look at this batter. So, it's okay, to have, it's, what I would say is, don't be super discouraged if you see hitters who are scoring 0. That probably is their highest likely outcome. And then also, aside from that, you have 8 hitters in your lineup, right? So, what you're trying to avoid is an outcome that each hitter is most likely to happen. You're actually trying to avoid that happening, right? And then you have to do that 8 times. So that's actually pretty hard. I don't know what the math is on that, but I think that it's pretty normal to get a hitter with a 0 in your lineup. I think that, what you're really trying to look for are these team combinations, not these individual hitter combinations where, if let's say you have a 5 stack, right, of Boston here, and let's say that you stack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, which is Verdugo, Yoshida, Turner, Devers, Duran, and Turner gets a 0, but Verdugo goes for, a home run and a double and 2 RBIs, and he has 28 points. Maybe Yoshida has 14. Devers maybe gets a walk and a run. It's 4 points. And then Duran has a steal, a single, a double, and gets 19 points or something like that. If you look at all these hitters together, right, you add up those points and then basically divide by 5. These hitters as a group would be scoring well above their means on average here. And I think that, in baseball, I think that's probably part of the reason stacking is so important, right? You can take the outcomes that this team is having in this team sport, in this team scoring environment, and then kind of look at it as a whole, right? So whenever I go through my MLB process, I am talking about stacks. I am talking about, 5 stacks, 4 stacks, 3 stacks, 2 stacks, whatever it may be. You never find me in the batters tab trying to figure out which individual hitter is going to have a good day, because I think that's extremely hard to do, right? So maybe take a step back here, not look at individual hitters. I don't think it's worth going into these percentiles and then seeing, what hitter is most likely has the highest upside here or things like that. So I would probably discourage that, which is the second part of this question. Should we be looking at percentiles? We're looking for players with high upside. I think that, try and focus on a team level and understand that, a winning lineup sometimes will have a 0, and that's okay, right? But if you can get those stacks right, if you can get those teams right, that is going to do much better for you in the long term here, especially with most hitters' highest percentage outcome being 0 points on average here. All right. Good question there. And I'm going to hit this next one from Noah. Noah said, hey, Andrew, if you sort by lowest to highest Geomean for NBA Showdown, would it pop out most unique lines first? And with NBA, if you go past the 20 and into the pool, does it still follow the rules you set? Or is it top 20 and then a mix below it? Okay, so really good questions here. So first part is, if you sort by highest to lowest Geomean for NBA Showdown, would it pop out the most unique lineups first? So the answer is yes. I would say that don't think of it as like most unique. Just think of it as least likely to be duplicated, I think is the right terminology here. Because if you did a Geomean calculation, right? Let's say that, you wanted to do one Geomean, you did 1 divided by the number of entries in your contest, maybe let's say 1,000 to the power of 1/6. And then let's say that value is something like 15. Well, what we're saying is that if a lineup has a Geomean of 15, we are expecting it to be duped 1 time. That also means that every lineup from, let's say 10 Geomean to 15 are all expected to be duped no more than 1 time, right? Or basically to be unique in that instance, right? So all of those lineups have the same uniqueness, but they still have different Geomeans, which means that, the lineups with the lower Geomean of 10 are even less likely to be duped than the lineups that have, 14.9, for instance, right? So you can kind of group those together based on those different Geomean thresholds. And then second part of the question says, if you go past the 20, which is your number of requested lineups, and into the pool, does it still follow the rules you set, or is it top 20 and then a mix below? So the answer is yes, that it will. If you set any rules here, let's say I set a Geomean rule, every single lineup that is generated will follow this rule. So it is not just your top 20. Basically what happens is that we build your pool of lineups based on everything you do in the home screen, based on your custom projections, based on your custom ownership, based on your min-max exposures, based on any rules that you set. And then once those lineups are all generated, all 500 lineups, SaberScore then goes in and then ranks them and moves them up or down depending on the sorting metric that it's using, right? So all the lineups get built using any rules or restrictions from the home screen, and then the builder decides which lineups are your top 20 after that part is complete. So it's kind of a 2-step process in that way. Next follow-up from Noah said, I asked yesterday, but now that there are projections, if you lock in Jokic at captain, can you still get a full pool since he is expensive? I haven't seen projections. I was just on there. So I'm still not seeing projections here. What I could try is a hard refresh, maybe do a Control-Shift-R here and see if anything populates. So at the moment, I'm not seeing any projections here. But he said, if you lock in Jokic to captain, can you still get a full pool since he is expensive? So I think you can. I would just be aware of players with a really low projection here. But ultimately, there's going to be a lot of combinations available to you here. So I think that you should still be able to get a full pool. I don't think that should be a problem, but give it a shot. Wow, he is really expensive. He is raw 14K salary. So captain 1.5x is 21K. So that is really expensive, but give it a shot. If the builder stops short, that's going to be your biggest indication, right? I'm not going to be able to say like, hey, The builder won't be able to build enough. I don't know all of the math, and the builder can do that really easily here. So if you get to a point where you build your lineups and the builder is just struggling, getting to 459, 460, 461, and then it cuts off, but like, okay, the builder can only build 461 lineups. At least I have, a more than 90% of my requested pool to work with from there, right? So give that a shot. All right. We are all caught up with questions in the Discord here, and these questions that came in the YouTube chat. I'm going to hang out a little bit, but if anybody has any questions that they have on their mind, now's a great time to ask them, right? Probably a question that you're thinking about, some other user is also thinking about. So don't be shy. There are no dumb questions here. And in the meantime, while I wait for some more questions to roll in, just want to remind everybody that if you guys are not playing on Owner's Box, I would highly recommend taking advantage of our promotion that we are running with them. We partnered with Owner's Box at the beginning of the MLB season here. It has been a good season to date. The contests on Owner's Box continue to overlay or be rake free or have reduced rake. And, I think that's really important, right? That is ROI percentages that you do not have to earn back, right? So on DraftKings, they have about a 15% rake. If that contest fills, you have to win back your 15%. And then, that's breaking even. And then now you have to go and earn additional percentage points to ultimately be profitable, right? But if you are playing reduced rake or no rake contest, that is percentage points that you do not have to earn back before seeing a profit. So I think that alone is a big plus for playing on Owner's Box at the moment. Aside from that, contests tend to be softer than what you're going to see on other sites here because a lot of the top players are not playing over on this site yet, but I don't think that will last forever here. So take advantage of that while you can. And then also, if you use promo code SABER or SaberSim when you sign up, you can get a $500 deposit bonus. And then we will track your entry fees, and then you can earn free months of SaberSim just by playing there and nothing else, right? So if you enter up to $3,500 in entry fees, we track this over time, right? So this does not have to be in a month. This could be in 6 months. This could be in a year. We will track your entry fees, and then we will reach out to you and say, hey, you have achieved this many dollars in entry fees. Do you want to cash in on a free month of the standard plan? And then if you say yes, we will reset your tracking to 0, and then you can continue to earn free months. There is no limit on the amount of credit that you can earn here. So take advantage of this promotion. Highly recommend playing over there. All right, getting back to the SaberSim app. Another question here in the YouTube chat for MLB main slates today. If you ran with one team locked in a 20 max, how can you make sure that your team uses all 1 through 9 batters across your 20 lineups? And it says, sometimes I like knowing that if that one team dominates, I get all of the points. Say you grab the highest implied total teams and ran with it as a lock 5-man in a 20 max entry. So this is something that I'm a big fan of doing. I talk about this a lot in my office hours videos or anytime that I'm giving strategy examples. So let's take the highest implied run total team, which would be Arizona for the main slate today. If you go and look at their batter projections here, you're going to see 25%, 17, 10, 10, 22, 8, 16, 15, 15. So they're actually like pretty spread out, which is actually really interesting. A lot of times, like especially on like these core slates, you'll see, really high projections for like batters 1 through 6, and then it kind of tails off toward the end, right? Batters 6, 7, 8, 9, usually a little less owned. Maybe Boston's a better example. So we have Devers 22, Verdugo 16, Yoshida 19, Turner 27, Duran 14, and then Duran is in the 6th spot, so 14 for Duran. Valdez 11%, Kike 8 in the 7 hole. Connor Wong, 15% in the 9 hole. Looks like Rob Refsnyder was like probably a late addition to the lineup here. So ownership is going to have to rerun, and then that will get updated here. But let's take Boston, right? Let's say we want to play Boston. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my 2 updates to projections really quickly here. Going to run this as if I'm playing a 20 max, 10 to 50K entrance, pretty standard contest size here. And then just going to build my 500 lineups here. So once these lineups load, we will get into the post build and continue talking about this a little more. Okay, so we're in the post build. Let's go over to our team stacks. And I'm going to go with 100% Boston here, right? And I'm actually going to go with 100% Boston 5 stacks specifically. So there's only about 60 lineups total with Boston in 5 stacks in our pool. So we do have to note that. So we might run into some constraints there. But what I would do here is I would go to team, and then, Boston starts with a B, so I would just inversely sort here. And then I'm going to go down to Boston. And then, so now I'm approaching Boston. So Ref Snyder's at 40%. Who's next? Kike's at 65. Devers is at 85. Valdez is at 70. Wong is in 30. Verdugo 75. Yoshida 50. Duran 45. Turner 40. So basically everybody's above 40%, except for Connor Wong. So I think that this is the best way to do this, right? Come into your you can even go to all batters or all, sort by team, and then use order here to tell you, like, okay, who's in the lineup, and then what are their percentages here. So maybe I want to increase Connor Wong, right? I'm like, hey, I'm playing everybody in 100% of my lineups, but Connor Wong is only in 30. Maybe I want Connor Wong in at least a third here, right? So then I'm going to increase him to 35. And then maybe I also say, like, hey, I want to play 100% Boston stacks, but I don't want to play anyone more than 80% too. So that way I have some options where if they don't get there, the rest of the team gets there. That's great. And then we have Verdugo at 80, and everyone else is above 40% here. So I'm actually a big fan of this, especially like the chalky teams. I think that, a lot of people, or even like a lot of optimizers, what they're going to do is play a lot of batters from the top of the lineup. And I don't think that's like particularly the best option here most of the time. So, if we look at Boston, we look at their top projected hitters, it's 2, 1, 4, 3, 6, right? And then Ref Snyder's kind of a little lower than Valdez. So, a lot of people are going to be playing 3, 4, 5 players from positions 1 through 6 in the order. And I think that one of the best things that you can do on these chalky teams is lineup construction, is find a way to stack this team that is different from the ways that other people are stacking them. And by forcing exposure to lower in the order hitters, or making the exposures fairly even, you can play the team at a really high rate, but the combinations of players that you're using is going to be different, right? So in this first lineup, we have 1, 2, 5, 8, 9. So we have like a end around stack with 8, 9, 1, 2, and then we have Ref Snyder in the 5th spot, right? So I think that's fine. And then we have a 1, 2, 6, 7, 9. So I love seeing these things, right? I think it's great. I think that, what you're alluding to here is probably the best way to play chalky teams, but play them differently here and get some leverage on the field via lineup construction specifically here. And then just since we have a little time, I'll tell a little story. So I went to Long Beach State. I used to be on the training staff for the Dirtbags, which are their baseball team. And I was there the year that Jarren Duran got drafted. So Jarren Duran used to play second base at Long Beach State. I was there for his draft year, got to spend a season with him. And so every time I see Jarren Duran doing good, I'm always rooting for him. So big JD fan over here. But just a cool little story. All right, everybody. I think we're going to call it a little early today. No questions from support today. Through with the Discord questions, through with the YouTube questions. Appreciate shout out Noah specifically here. Keeping the show alive, asking lots of questions here. But we'll be right back tomorrow. We do have the big NBA showdown Millie Maker tomorrow, so should be plenty to talk about tomorrow. If you guys are building lineups throughout the day, question pops in your head, drop it in the Office Hours channel. Let it sit there. Gives us a steady queue of questions to get started with at the beginning of this show. But until tomorrow, take care, everybody. Good luck in your contests, and I will see you guys. Thanks. Bye.